Even though Chara has managed to have an illustrious career in the NHL, he's made several enemies by doing so. The captain has become known by pretty much every non-Bruins fan as a bully and a dirty player who isn't afraid to use his size to deliver dangerous and punishing hits. And with that, here are 5 players that hate Chara the most. Number 5. Bryan McCabe. Back in McCabe's day, he was known for a lot more than just his slap shot, but also his punishing hip checks and willingness to fight. The defenseman held quite a reputation in Toronto of never backing down from a brawl. Therefore, when Chara's team came to town, he did just that. After McCabe decided to take a jab at Chara's boys, and no, I don't mean teammates. From there, McCabe was tossed around like a rag doll and took several punches to the face, while he was on his knees basically begging for mercy. Besides just losing a fight, the enforcer also had to face the embarrassment of getting his ass beat in front of a home crowd. Even though there were no injuries that incurred, McCabe strangely opted out of any extracurriculars for a while after. Therefore, in my opinion, I think he learned a valuable lesson here. Number 4. Ratis Evenons. So, you already pretty much know that if you're playing for the Montreal Canadiens, you're going to be a target, whether your opposing team is Boston or Ottawa. And at this time, back in 2005, Zdeno Chara was still playing for the latter. Therefore, it's not a surprise that the fight Evenons decided to pick with Big Z and his team would be his last for a long time. The Habs enforcer sustained multiple punishing blows to his head by Chara. And not only did this result in the home crowd going completely silent as they were at a loss, but also Evenons being put on the shelf for the rest of the season, as he sustained a broken orbital bone due to the punch that was thrown once he was already leveled. Thankfully, the Latvian enforcer was able to make a return the next season, but it's pretty easy to speculate that he will never be sending Zdeno a Christmas card. Number 3. Chris Neil. The phrase "actions speak louder than words" definitely has some accuracy when it comes to these two, because just about every time the pair was on the ice, things tended to get ugly. And even though these two used to be teammates, camaraderie was most certainly replaced with bad blood. During his career, Neil was known, as you guessed it, as another dirty player constantly trying to get under the opposing player's skin with his cheap tactics. But as we all know, Chara isn't going to let anyone pick on his team, and is quick to stick up for any player in black and yellow. Number 2. Sidney Crosby. So besides the typical scraps and on-ice antics that you would expect out of these two captains who both play for teams that pretty much hate each other, it's about to get even more interesting. During the Eastern Conference Finals in 2013 between the two teams, things got ugly and ended up resulting in accusations. Crosby later claimed that Chara took it upon himself to punch the side of the forward's jaw that was still on the mend. This was after the Penguins captain latched onto Chara, grabbing him by the jersey and getting up into his face. Sure, the playoffs get very intense, but it definitely says a lot for Crosby to go out of his way to make such a claim, whether it was true or not. Number 1. Max Pacioretty. On March 8th of 2011, Pacioretty had one of the closest calls to hanging up his skates than he ever had, or probably ever will. The two started out innocently heading to the boards while Chara was getting positioned for a pinch, but where he decided to check the forward was his biggest mistake, as he plowed Pacioretty headfirst between the center glass which separates the benches. The Habs captain laid motionless long enough to give the home crowd a scare as Chara was immediately sent off the ice. After sustaining a fractured vertebrae and landing in a hospital bed, Pacioretty gave a statement which in part said it all. "I'm upset and disgusted that this league didn't think enough of that hit to suspend him." He also said in summary that he feels as if Chara was trying to partially blame him for what happened, and even saying that he believes the defenseman had ill intentions and was trying to guide his head into the turnbuckle. Therefore, I think it's safe to say that there's definitely a lot more here than just team rivalry. I don't think there would be any reason for the Habs captain not to have some animosity towards the guy who could have ended his career, or worse.